Sparta did not run out of courage, it ran out of Spartans. At the height of its power, the city could field thousands of full citizen soldiers. By the 4th century BCE, that elite class had shrunk so severely that one lost battle could damage the state beyond repair. The mystery is not why Spartan warriors became weaker. It is why the system that created them kept producing fewer men who were legally allowed to stand in the line. The famous Spartan army rested on a narrow category of people called Spartiates, full male citizens who had completed the agoge, belonged to a common mess, possessed political rights, and could devote their lives to war. They were not the whole population of Sparta. Around them lived the perioikoi, free communities without Spartan political rights, and beneath the system were the helots, an unfree agricultural population forced to support the citizen class. That arrangement gave Sparta its military advantage. A Spartiate did not need to spend every day farming or trading. Helot labor sustained his household, while the state trained him for discipline, endurance, and collective combat. But the same arrangement created a trap. Sparta's army depended on a small hereditary group, and membership in that group was surprisingly easy to lose. To remain a full citizen, a Spartan had to contribute a fixed share of produce to his common mess. If his estate no longer generated enough, he could fall out of the citizen body. He might still be Spartan by birth, but he was no longer one of the equals who governed and fought at the highest status. Economic decline, therefore, became military decline. A failed farm, a divided inheritance, or concentrated land ownership did not merely make one family poorer. It removed another shield from the phalanx. Sparta also had no quick replacement system. Athens could expand the role of sailors, resident foreigners, and allied manpower. Other states could arm broader sections of their population when danger grew. Sparta's prestige depended on exclusivity. The agoge took years. Citizenship was inherited and tightly controlled. The qualities that made the Spartiate identity valuable also made it difficult to scale. Then war began consuming the people Sparta could least afford to lose. In 480 BCE, the sacrifice at Thermopylae created an immortal legend. But it also revealed the arithmetic. The death of even a few hundred full citizens mattered. During the long Peloponnesian War, Sparta sometimes behaved with striking caution when citizen troops were trapped or captured. At Sphacteria in 425 BCE, the surrender of Spartan hoplites shocked Greece. Sparta negotiated urgently because those men were not replaceable pieces. They were a shrinking strategic resource. The problem deepened as wealth and land became concentrated. Ancient writers, especially Aristotle, criticized the distribution of property and described a citizen body collapsing in number. Their figures are not a modern census, and they must be treated carefully, but the direction is unmistakable. Sparta moved from an army supported by thousands of citizen households toward a state in which only a fraction could still meet the legal and economic requirements of full status. Meanwhile, the helot system created permanent danger at home. The helots vastly outnumbered the Spartiates, especially in Messenia. Sparta needed its army not only to campaign abroad, but also to control the labor population that made the army possible. Every distant war carried a second question. If too many citizens left, who would guard the system behind them? Military power and domestic insecurity fed each other. Sparta tried workarounds. It relied more heavily on allies, perioikoi, freed helots, and other troops who did not belong to the old citizen elite. These soldiers could be effective, but they exposed the contradiction. Sparta remained feared because of the Spartiate warrior, while more and more of its actual military burden was carried by people outside that class. The breaking point came at Leuctra in 371 BCE. The Theban commander Epaminondas concentrated exceptional strength against Sparta's best wing and shattered it. Hundreds of Spartiates were killed, including King Cleombrotus. For a larger society, the defeat would have been disastrous. For Sparta, it was demographic surgery. A major share of the remaining citizen manpower disappeared in a single afternoon. The defeat also broke the structure that had financed Spartan life. The Thebans invaded the Peloponnese and helped establish an independent Messenia. Sparta lost control of much of the territory and helot labor on which citizen households had depended. Fewer estates could support full citizens. Fewer citizens could sustain the army, and a weaker army could no longer restore the estates. The system entered a loop it could not reverse. This is why Sparta's decline was not simply the story of one tactical defeat or warriors becoming soft. Its battlefield machine was built on a demographic bottleneck: rigid citizenship, unequal land distribution, and coerced labor. Those features created elite soldiers, but they also made every citizen loss unusually expensive, and every social shock harder to absorb. Sparta had optimized for quality without building resilience. Its warriors remained formidable. The supply of warriors did not. And when the number of citizens became too small to defend the system that produced them, the legend survived longer than the power behind it. Which empire should we examine next through the hidden system that made it rise or collapse? Subscribe to Empires at War for more stories about the decisions, logistics, and turning points behind history.